Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
All right, so it's in the forum. Ace
Okay.
Ace versus Villain under the gun.
Ace Ace versus Villain under the gun. Let me see if I can bring it up here. All right. Ace Ace versus Villain under the gun.
With a paired board. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so let me go through it here. 1-2 cash game. Villain is a good player. Effective stack's $320. Hero has about $675. Villain limps under the gun. Two others limp. Then it gets to Hero in MP1 with aces. Raised to 12. Two callers before it gets back to the Villain, who calls. Now this Villain again is a limper under the gun. One limper after the Villain calls. So three limpers, you just make it 12 with aces. Isn't that kind of small? Isn't the usual standard opening like 10 or 12 anyways?
Yeah, that was probably my first mistake. I should have gone more like 18 or
20
maybe
or something
20.
like that. I mean, whatever. So the
Yeah.
flop comes out Queen 5-5 Rainbow.
Right.
Check, check. Hero bets about 45. You said you're totally guessing. Why? Because you don't remember?
Yeah, I think it was a $60 pot. Sounds right.
Yeah, so you bet 45 here. Now this is a pretty dry board. I might bet a little bit smaller, but okay, you bet 45 into a $60 pot. Villain calls. So the limper from up front calls. Turn
Right.
is a 10. Villain now donks for 100. Hero snap calls. River's a jack. Villain now goes in for 140 more. I still can't even before we even get to the river here. Okay, so you've got a villain that's limped in under the gun. So when he donks the turn, what are you scared about? Just out of curiosity, are you scared that you have the best hand here when he donks the turn?
No, I put him on two pair, like Queen 10 or Queen anything, really.
Okay, so you beat
Um,
that, right?
right, right. That's
Okay,
why I
so
snapped it.
so I just did I just did a podcast about taking the lead and about position and things like that. And the thing that jumps out at me here, because this reminds me of like old hands when 5-10 used to be really soft at commerce, is that first of all, I'm not scared of a 5. I've got two aces in my hand. Usually the only hand that a guy's going to show up with a 5 is ace 5 suited from under the gun. We block that. You can actually
Right.
look also too at the suit distribution of the 5s, because let's say for example it's queen of clubs, 5 of hearts, 5 of diamonds, okay? And you have
Right.
two black aces in your hand. He can't have ace 5 suited. There is no ace 5 suited, right?
Right.
If you look at your hand. So when you're looking at the possibility of trips and you're starting to work that in your head, look at your cards. Look at the suits of your cards and how they match the board. Obviously, we don't have that information here. But he bets into you 100 when the pot is 150. Now, the thing about this is that if you call and he's got 140 more, so it probably doesn't make that much of a difference, but let's just imagine that we were a little bit deeper. And the whole point of that taking the lead podcast is that if he's got a queen here and he bets the turn and you call, a lot of times he's going to check the river. And this is where people go bad. They bet the river, but they don't get all of the guys stack. So if this guy, say, had like 250 left, let's say he had 350 to start the turn, I would just bump it up to 200. It doesn't change anything. It just gets more money in the pot because he's not going to bet fold a queen for 100 more, and you're not necessarily going to get checked. You're not going to get a bet on the river. A lot of times he'll bet the turn, you call, and now he checks. So if you bump it to 200, it does the same thing. It just gets more money in the pot. So that's, I
Okay.
mean, with him having 140 more, it's probably pretty close, whether you could call or raise, but that's sort of what I'm thinking. Now, when the river comes out at jack and he moves all in for 140, I mean, you said, can I still call? What are you scared of?
I wasn't scared. I snap called. Or not
Okay.
even snap called, but I
Okay.
called.
So
And
I thought that well, because you wrote in the post, still call here.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if I could have done anything differently. Like I said, he's a good player. I didn't expect him to have any fives here. He had a 7-5 of hearts. So,
Okay.
and I mean, so I don't know. I didn't know if there was anything I could do, if it was just a setup situation, basically.
I do think that the bet I do see the do dot said the bet on the flop is a little bit large, and I do tend to agree. You can probably bet a little bit smaller. What are you gonna do? I mean, the run out doesn't change anything really. It is a little bit weird that he shoves the river, but just chalk it up to this guy. He's gonna have a five here sometimes from under the gun.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the session was still really good. Like, that was the only bad hand.
Okay.
I still ended up walking out over $400 profit in like 3.5 hours. So I was still happy, but that $300 loss was it hurt a little on
Yeah,
that
no
hand.
worry. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna lose some. You're gonna win some. Thanks for the call.
All right, thanks, Bart.
All right. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out CrushLivePoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.